Welcome back to the vlog. Kato here, and tomorrow I go to Las Vegas. Today, though, we're playing a $300 buy-in at the 1-3 game, and I decided to get a little frisky. I put a straddle on right off the bat on the button. The dealer passes the cards around, and I look down at King Jack offsuit. The hijack puts in a min raise. The big blind calls, and I'm going to go for a little 3-bet here. Why not? I'm in position with a strong hand. I make it 30, and both the hijack and the big blind call. The flop comes out 9 high, a paired board. Action checks to me. I decide to check and see the turn. It's a 6 of hearts. It checks through again. The river is a deuce. Completely whiffed my first hand. Maybe I should have been more aggressive, but now the big blind's going to be aggressive. Tosses in 30, and I have no choice but to fold my hand, wait for a better one. I top back off for 300, in for 330. The next hand I get is ace, 8 of clubs in the hijack, 270 in my stack. Action folds to me. I open it up to 15, and I get one caller. The big blind defends. We're going heads up to the flop. It comes out ace, 6, 6, another paired board. I hit my ace. My opponent checks to me, and I think it's okay to check in this situation. I do have the ace. The board's not going to change much unless it's a heart, so I check back. The turn is a 10, no heart, and my opponent sees a window of opportunity to make a bet. He puts in 20. I'm going to make the call. No reason to raise. My kicker doesn't play, and no reason to fold, of course. The river comes a 9, no flushes, and not any likely straights. And the big blind's going to continue putting money in this pot. He stacks out 8 reds and puts in 40, and I make the quick call. And my opponent flips up ace-queen offsuit. Good thing I didn't bet the flop, although I didn't suspect that he had that strong of a hand. The pot is going his way, and my stack is dropped down to 225. Speaking of dropping, if you drop a like on this video, it helps expose my videos to new viewers. Thank you so much. I top off just a little bit. Once again, add 41 to my stack. Now I'm up to 256. In for 371, and the next hand I look down at is king-queen offsuit. I'm on the button, and the hijack decides to open for 12. The cutoff comes along, and I'm going to put in a 3-bet. I make it 50. This is probably not the best hand to 3-bet. Definitely king-queen suited, but I do have position. I'm trying to isolate. And the small blind just flat calls. Did not expect that. Most likely something like ace-king, ace-queen suited, or a middling pair like pocket 10s or pocket jacks. Action's back on the original raise or the hijack, and he puts in 50 as well. The cutoff folds his hand out of the way, and we're headed to the flop, looking for a king, looking for a queen, but we don't get it. 6-7 jack. I do have backdoor straight and flush draws and 2 overs. The small blind checks over to the hijack. The hijack sends the action my way, and although I want to put in a stab, I want to be aggressive. The willingness for those 2 players to call pre-flop, I think it's better for me to just check and realize, or at least try to realize some of my equity with a good turn card, but it's not a good turn card. It's another 6. And now I'm drawing really thin, and the small blind has had enough. He's coming out firing. He makes it 45, and if you look at the hijack, he was already counting his chips even before the small blind made the bet. But he doesn't just want to call the bet. He jams all in, and I jam all out. And I am going to be jamming out in Vegas in just a few days. I always just try to get straight into the action, skip the intro, so you hardly ever see me, but here's the man behind the curtain. I'm halfway through editing this episode, and right when I finish, I am going to start my journey to Las Vegas, where I'm going to be playing in the main event of the World Series of Poker. I can't believe it. It's an absolute dream come true. Thank you, everyone who supported me and is getting in on a piece of the action, a piece of the sweat. I still have about 6 or 7% left to sell, so if you're interested, shoot me an email, PokerBEASTs@gmail.com. Let's finish the rest of the episode, and then the next week is going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in, because I'm going to be providing content the entire time. 206 in my stack. This has been a rapid-fire session. It started at 9 p.m., and at 9:30, I pick up ace-10 offsuit under the gun. I open to 15. The low jack calls. The big blind defends 3 ways to the flop, and I'm just not hitting these boards. It comes out 9 high, and out of position with 2 players in the pot. I'm not going to try to take it down. It's not a very big pot. I check. Action checks all the way around. We go to the turn, and it's a 10. I finally get a pair with a great kicker. There's a lot of hands out there that beat me, and a lot of bad turns. Maybe I should check, but I have to do a small $15 bet. And I get a quick call from the low jack. Action's back on the big blind, and the big blind's not going anywhere. He calls as well. We're headed to the river, and it comes out another 9, pairing the top card on the flop with 2 opponents in the hand. I'm going to check. I'm going to go into check call mode, but it quickly checks all the way through, and my opponent shows up queen 10. My kicker is going to play. The other opponent mucks, so I'm scooping a pot finally up to 267. Even though I'm going to Vegas, I'm not going to stop shipping out my cold hard cash card protectors, bringing my printer, bringing my computer, so you can get your hands on one of these beautiful bad boys. Help support the channel and get a badass piece of poker merch in return. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the action. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of this next hand, but someone opens. I 3-bet with pocket 10s, and he jams all in for about 130, so I make the call. He flips up pocket queens, and he takes half my stack down to 135, and I look at pocket aces. I wish I would have topped off, but there's nothing I can do now except for put it in a bet. I make it 15, praying for another 3-bet, but the middle position player only calls. Action folds to the big blind, who defends his blind. 46 in the pot, headed 3 ways to the flop, and it comes out jack 5-6. exactly what the doctor ordered for my aces, and I'm going to try to get my entire stack in. I'm first to act. I make it 20, and that doesn't push anyone out. The middle position player calls. So does the big blind. We go to the turn, and it's a king. Of course, king jack beats me, but there are plenty of naked kings that would float the flop, like king 10 suited, king queen suited with the backdoor to the straight and flush. I'm absolutely not going to be checking my aces, though. I'm going to be going for broke. If someone has it, so be it. I stack out chips and put in a bet of 45. 45 is too much pressure for the middle position player, but the big blind grabs his chips and says, okay, you want to see the river? I'll see it with you. Puts in his call. My stack is now 1/4 the size of the pot. Going to be jamming basically any river unless it's a jack. It comes a king, pairing the board. It's a little bit scary. If he has a king, he's definitely going all in, but we'll probably check anything else with showdown values. So I want to go all in, target his jacks, 5s, and 6s. I put the rest of my chips in. Unfortunately, it's too much pressure for him. He folds, but I'm much happier that my aces didn't get cracked rather than making an extra 55 in profit. Up to 251, lose it down a little bit to 233, and pick up ace-queen offsuit in the small blind. The middle position player opens up to 12. The hijack calls, the button calls. Action's on me. My hand's not suited. I'm out of position. I don't want to go 4 ways to the flop, but I don't want to put in a 3-bet with my stack size, so I just jam it all in, try to steal the free $40 in the pot uncontested. The big line gets out of the way, and action's back to the original aggressor. If I can get through him, then I can get through probably the rest of the field, but he is not going anywhere quickly. He asks for a count, and I'm starting to get a little nervous. What if I run into ace-king? What if I run into a pocket pair and just don't hit the board? He takes about 2 minutes before deciding to fold, and the rest quickly follows suit, and I am adding $40 to my chip stack, about a 15% increase in the size of my stack, which is a perfect result for the hand. Glad to be raking in chips because I'm still nowhere close to even. 272 in my stack, in for about $100 more, and then I go through a dry spell for about 30 minutes, pick up pocket aces again, scoop a very small pot, and then I get a suitable king 10 of clubs and the hijack to play. There's an under the gun straddle. Action folds to me. I open it up to 15, and the player directly to my left starts to grab chips. So he grabs one of the 15, puts out a $45 bet. Action comes back to me. I can definitely fold this hand because I'm out of position with a mediocre hand that often comes in second best, but whenever someone 3x's with the 3-bet, I am always tempted to call. It's not that much more, so I put in the 45. We're headed to the flop. I'm looking to get lucky. I'm going to need it. The flop comes out ace high. Ugh, I do pair my 10s, but that ace is not a good card to be looking at. I check to my opponent, and he immediately grabs chips again. Does a casual 55 into the center. And I get carried away again. I make the call. I'm blocking his ace-kings. If he doesn't have an ace, I have him beat. We go to the turn. It comes out a 5, and I check to my opponent, and he decides to check back. And so now I'm starting to think maybe my hand is good. The river comes out of blank, and I send the action over to my opponent, hoping he just checks behind, but he has other plans. He's going to go firing again, and he blasts out a bet of 105. Ugh, well, it's only a half-size pot bet, and the way I see this hand is he continuation bet on the flop, concerned that I had an ace on the turn. He checked it, and now that I've checked again on the river, he's trying to steal the pot from me. It comes down to, does he have an ace, or does he not? Because he's not going to be doing this with kings, queens, jacks. As I gently shuffle a single chip on top of my 100 stack, I think back through the hand, and I also think about the player. This guy isn't the kind of guy who only 3-bets with premiums. He can 3-bet with a good range of hands, and the size of this river bet and the way he played the hand makes me suspicious enough to put in the call, and he immediately shows the bluff. 9-8 of diamonds. I flip over my hand, and I'm going to be taking down a well-earned, well-won pot. Feels fantastic making the right call. Hero calls are always a little dangerous. I often tend to find the folds, but I'm starting to understand hands a little bit better, starting to be able to find those spots that don't make sense. Finally profitable on the session. I look down at pocket 10s, and I pick up a small pot, and then I wait there for 30 minutes, don't catch any cards, and realize, you know what, you fought your way out of the trenches, through the battlefield to rake up a small profit, so you might as well take the chips at the cage to turn them into some cold, hard cash. In for 371, out for 494 for a profit of $123. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in Vegas. Cato out. I hope you liked that video, and if you'd like to watch another, there's 2 options on your screen. Both are fantastic episodes, so enjoy, and I'll see you next time.